For the last 8 or 9 years, I've been under the social microscope. I've been doxxed, harassed, I've gotten death threats. Event spaces and friends that merely post a picture with me online have in turn also been getting harassed. In truth, more recently, I've been going through a mental health crisis, and I felt compelled to do a public statement that I knew in some ways would be social suicide, as a precursor to actual suicide. One of my friends nailed it. He said, "It feels like you are knowingly and intentionally making it harder to just be your friend, so you can give yourself an easier out to just kill yourself." I have recently come out of a very difficult breakup, and I truly felt like, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. And in truth, I don't. To my friends who I do care about and love, I want to offer you an apology. I am sorry for being brash and jumping the gun and posting what I did early before this video was finished, and the stresses that it had caused you. It seems like we as a community have grown to a place where being friends with me has become a burden, and I'm sorry for that. I needed a push to get this done, and it wasn't happening without external forces. To the people who have found it more appropriate to harass rather than question, and to just bandwagon onto hate, and have the audacity to say that what I am doing is dangerous for our community, standing by and turning a blind eye to the fact that people are posting my personal information online or threatening to come to my home and assault me, I offer you no apology. I believe that you are what is wrong with our community. Doxing and harassment, that shit's illegal. I have done nothing illegal, and that is why I am not worried. I hope that this video can serve as a demonstration on how unhealthy abuse and attacks within our community have become rampant and reached a point where it has become socially acceptable to encourage vulnerable people to suicide or isolation, as well as sharing my thoughts, suffering, and beliefs on the matter at hand. I do not and will never support animal abuse for sexual gratification. I have never had sex with an animal in any manner. And this video is not encouraging people to fuck their dog, but I feel it important to understand what zoophilia actually is. A love and attraction towards animals in a fandom based around a love and attraction of being an animal. The zoophile label was thrust onto me for years within our community. And rather than just give the haters what they want and just disappear to further empower them to hate mob their next victim, I've decided to lean into it and talk about it. So, without further ado, I present to you my first ever video, Zoophilia and its entanglement within the furry fandom.
Caution, this video is intended for mature audiences and discusses taboo subject matter. The goal of the video is to open up discussions about morality, perspectives, and discuss the court of public opinion within the furry fandom. Please do not try any of this at home. Instructions are clear. No dicks should be caught in ceiling fans.
Sup y'all, it's your dog Senny. So over the last several years, I've been under a lot of fire for some pretty ridiculous stuff within the furry fandom's online community.
I'd like to formally apologize for all of the...
I'm just screwing with you. A few people have been spinning a narrative about me for a while, and I figure, you know what? Let's talk about it. So in this video, we're going to cover a few different subjects: zoophilia, bestiality, and zoosadism. So let's get started. Zoophilia is defined as a sexual attraction of human towards non-human animals, which may involve the experience of sexual fantasies about the animals. So what does this mean? Well, it's a term used to label people who have an attraction to animals. But as we all know, attractions can take many forms. The furry fandom at its core is a highly expressive and sexually liberated community, where people from all walks of life find commonality and community. Its members take on animal personas, or fursonas. We use these as projections of characteristics and behaviors, be it that you want to project cat-like behavior, dog-like behavior, maybe you're even a horse, in which case, here's my number. With this, there's a lot of artwork that gets commissioned. There's an entire market and ecosystem within the community, from people who make fantasy silicone sculptures, artwork, fursuits, write stories, hold events and conventions, etc. Many would lead you to believe that the sexual aspect of the fandom is small and insignificant. But honestly, I think that the market can speak for itself, and that the sexual aspect is more than what many who say this would lead you to believe. So what does this have to do with animals?
Well, furry embraces and projects these animal characteristics, fetishizes it even. Sure, the animals are usually anthropomorphic, but that doesn't stop people from getting their animal characters drawn anatomically correct. And yet there seems to be an internal conflict within the community that has spun up over the last several years as the community has grown and a younger audience has appeared that feels that they can dictate what is acceptable. It becomes pretty obvious that the fandom is predominantly gay and almost fairly sexist in many aspects, with the hypocrisy that some of its members display.
Well, we so based. Yum yum, dough stick.
No, you can't have that in your art. You're a zoophile.
Perhaps it's important to address the stigma of these topics firsthand. Zoophilia is the sexual attraction towards animals. Sexual attraction is something that I think we can all agree can be fairly complicated. There is a massive range of sexual attractions out there. Some people do not even have sex. Some people are attracted to someone's brain or personality, their behaviors, projections. Others are simply carnal and are attracted towards someone's physique or the size of their you-know-what. Zoophilia is something I personally view as a bit of a spectrum. Wikipedia even sources the Journal of Forensic and Legal Medicine, which states that there are several different kinds of zoophiles. Oh, human-animal role players. Isn't that interesting? Much like sexual attraction at its core, zoophilia defines a draw towards characteristics, or anatomy, or personalities, or maybe all of the above. I personally believe that if there is any sexual aspect to your furriness, it is most likely from a deep-seated root of something that is zoophilic in nature. However, I think that at its core, people do not choose these sexual attractions. They can choose to engage with them, and furry may be that outlet for many, many people. Much of the harassment I've received from this topic being discussed often boils down to the trolls being mad because they are potentially in the closet about their own attractions and desires that make them uncomfortable. Wouldn't you like to know how many people from your past have come to me and explained how many skeletons are in your closet? It's the same as being the bully on the playground that picks on the flamboyant kid because they're uncomfortable with the fact that they're actually gay.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
And hating someone for enjoying artwork or animalistic projections, fantasies, or desires becomes so thought policey that it actually goes against the ethos of furry at its core. Radical self-expression and an exploration of fantasy. From my perspective, I don't think there's anything morally abhorrent about this. This isn't something someone chooses. This is a predisposition towards an attraction towards animals. So what about those that engage with it? Well, let's talk about bestiality.
Things you can say to your dog, but not your girlfriend. Come.
The Cambridge Dictionary defines bestiality as sex between a human and an animal. Watching animals bang on the Discovery Channel is not bestiality. It's only bestiality if a human is involved. Being a zoophile does not indicate that you have performed or even desire to perform an act of bestiality. This is the action of engaging with an animal sexually. This could mean many things and has wide-ranging moral and legal implications. Let's talk about some of them. Oh, it's illegal. I personally believe that the legality of something does not determine its moral value. For example, homosexuality was, and still is, illegal in many places around the world. Oh, well, it's immoral. Morality is a complicated subject. As just mentioned, homosexuality is also considered immoral in many places. I view it as immoral to eat dog. But why? When I'm willing to eat cow? What makes morality, when it comes to bestiality, such a taboo subject that even asking these questions is considered social suicide? Let's tackle some of them right now. Oh, animals can't consent. I don't really think they consented to being turned into a cheeseburger or some chicken nuggets, but we find that morally acceptable.
He would consent to be strapped into a buggy.
It's not really, when it comes to pets, it's not really a matter of consent, David.
Yet, there are much simpler moral realities where animals display behaviors that they actually desire. What does the word consent mean when it comes to these behaviors?
Obviously there are some forms of human sexual interaction with animals that are simply cruel and harm the animals in various ways. You can think of others if you want to. I don't know how graphic a description you want, but you can think of others where the animals are free to come and go if they wish, where they're not being harmed in any way. And so...
They consent.
I feel like they consent as much as animals can ever consent to anything. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, it's taking advantage of and/or harming an animal. It almost goes without saying that our unsustainable capitalistic consumption of animals is not only rapidly destroying our planet, but that the process that these animals go through, an entire miserable existence, stuck in cages, raped, castrated, fattened with horrible foods, and ultimately led to a bleak and horrific death where they are then packaged up and turned into tasty little treats at your local McDonald's. This goes morally unchallenged. But why? Why is it that as a society, we find it morally acceptable to take advantage of an animal in this way, but morally reprehensible to do so in other ways? Is a farmer artificially inseminating a cow an act of bestiality? If not, why not? Why is it morally permissible? They are not taking into account an animal's consent or respecting its sexual autonomy. Some people would say that it's necessary because we need to eat. Obviously, we don't need to eat meat in order to survive. Some people would say that it presents a logistical issue.
Have you ever done DMT?
As there are too many people on this world to feed without having to rely on meat as a resource. But realistically, it's still possible to make the transition, considering that the feed and energy that livestock consume is greater than the amount of vegetables and nuts, etc. that we consume. The truth is, we just like the way that meat tastes. And we've weighed that desire as morally more important than the lives and even well-being of animals. When we are discussing these moral realities about the well-being of animals trapped in our factory farming system, we never place any emphasis on consent or their desire to actually be a part of this system. To me, this is a greater issue and a greater evil than your typical getting boned by their dog.
In Jackass the movie, Dave England drank a jug of pig cum,
And people in the audience just laughed and chuckled over it. Where do you think pig cum comes from? A farmer can shove his whole fist in a cow, but if he gets a chub for it, now it's immoral. People will argue about how much an animal will feel. I think that they share a wide range of feelings and emotions, much like us humans do. They can feel happy, scared, they can feel pleasure, or the grief of loss, sadness, abandonment, and even pain. Which brings me to the next topic, zoosadism. Zoosadism is the sexual pleasure derived from cruelty to animals. It is a paraphilia where zoosadists are sexually aroused by pain inflicted on animals. Zoosadism is part of the McDonald triad, a set of 3 behaviors that are considered a precursor to psychopathic behavior. Zoosadism is an attraction, desire, or action where someone extracts sexual pleasure from cruelty to animals. I have always found this to be disgusting in nature. This is a huge red flag for me. I don't understand how someone can extract sexual pleasure from displaying cruelty towards an innocent animal. The furry fandom in itself has also had its own issues with zoosadism. Hell, there was a leaked document from where a disgusting individual who's now thankfully rotting in prison name-dropped me, never spoke with me, but referenced me in their conversations, trying to find someone with an animal to rape me without my knowledge and film it. For some reason, furries have played a game of telephone over the last 7 or 8 years when they look at this and believe this to be proof that I am some sort of horrible person. I've never even chatted with this individual, and I've never been in support of people harming animals for their own sexual pleasure. I believe that, much like I've stated before, people do not choose to be into this affliction. But I do sincerely hope that it isn't something people act on. And I hope if someone is watching this that happens to have this affliction, that you seek professional help, as there are resources out there that can help you. I worry that we as a community handle the previously described topics improperly. While I do not understand and am in fact disgusted by the mere thought of someone inflicting harm towards an animal for sexual pleasure, I worry that our suppression and hateful attacks towards those suffering from something that is actually harmless, like zoophilia,
push these people with a predisposition towards a dangerous and, in my opinion, immoral fetish deeper and deeper into the fringes of our community, discouraging them from seeking mental help and being able to feel like they can talk to a professional that can address the root of the issue. Doing so can create a much more dangerous individual that can demonstrate psychopathic, harmful behaviors and engage in such actions like actually harming animals. I have never been okay with zoo sadism. I know that we as a community can do better. I think that if we as a community were more willing to talk about attractions to animals in general, we can better engage in and facilitate discussions with people who may be our friends or a YouTuber and bring to light the fact that this type of desire is not okay and that they should seek professional help. That if we have an opportunity to stop them before they can rape or murder an animal, we should do that. Something that is preventative rather than reactionary. All this for what? What is the point? Well, over the last several years, I've gotten a lot of hate sent my way from within a community that I call home. I've been doxxed, threatened, harassed. People have been playing a game of telephone for so many years, saying I'm an animal rapist, claiming I've made videos where I've raped my dog.
Are you sure about that?
Motherfuckers, I've never even had a dog. Like, you guys are fucking psychos. People trying to implicate me as a zoo sadist or trying to fabricate some sort of narrative that I'm a disgusting individual that has done some demonstrably evil thing. I've struggled with my own mental health over this, contemplated suicide. I spoke about it on Twitter, and even then, if friends chimed in and showed love or support, these monsters would troll through the comments and harass them. Like, don't you have a hobby or something? Practice your art, then maybe it wouldn't be so mediocre. Oh, they're drawing feral dogs with tummy nipples. How ironic. I sought therapy and discussed this topic with my shrink. Their answer was, that's weird that furries would be so upset over this. You think out of anyone, they would really not care. Who the fuck cares? I've had friends and event spaces harassed by merely associating with me. My life and my livelihood has been threatened and affected. I've seen my friends have their workplaces called, their parents called, just because they follow me on Twitter.
Destroy the child.
Why do we as a community find this acceptable? Why has it become socially acceptable to snuff out forms of conversation behind topics like this? Why is it socially acceptable, and in many cases applauded, to push an individual to suicidal thoughts through isolation, harassment, doxing? Do you guys consider this justice? You know, I lost my dad a few years ago to Alzheimer's. While me and my mom were still grieving his passing, I had to sit down with her and explain that there were some awful people on the internet who had posted her phone number and her address, and it was no longer safe for her. I watched her tear up while understanding that she had to give up a phone number that she held for 23 years and chose with her now passed husband while still grieving his passing. All because children in our community virtue signal and rally behind a hateful ideology that is socially acceptable to just harass people who are the victims. I've been under the microscope for like, what, 7, 8 years now? Maybe longer? Being harassed and called out for this bullshit, you think if there was any sort of evidence of wrongdoing, it would have been released by now. There would be more than just me standing up for and defending a friend who came under fire for jerking off a dog when they were like fucking 12 years old. That it would be more than just feral artwork or logs where some sick twisted fucker simply mentions my name. I feel like it's important to highlight and show the differences of what zoophilia, bestiality, and zoosadism are, to give some context. Furry, as a whole, is zoophilic in nature. I've never engaged with an animal sexually. I've never performed an act of bestiality. And I certainly do not consider myself a zoo sadist by any definition. Furry used to be a community about radical self-expression and self-identity, finding yourself a community of like-minded people who enjoy the same stuff you do, to find common ground to potentially develop and establish friendships. It used to be an us versus the normies thing. Now, we're just trying to pander to the normies. As the community itself has rapidly grown and developed, it's brought in a tremendous amount of capital, enabled more and more people to have careers within the community, but it's come with its own issues. Now, everyone is a fucking brand. You are either an artist, an animator, a 3D modeler, influencer, a porn star, a fursuit maker, a dildo maker, a writer, a YouTuber, whatever it is. People are now their own brand. and they care a lot about protecting that brand. You have celebrities interfacing and engaging with the fandom in a different parasocial profiteering expedition where they don't really truly care about the community or respect other artists within it. But that's a video for another day. Lately, there's been a large movement that I've noticed. A large amount of people are slapping a Therian symbol on their profile, or as I like to call it, Zoo Light, where people who used to be more open about a Zeta symbol on their profiles on Twitter now have replaced it with a Theta Data symbol, as a way to signal their attraction and affiliation with being an animal. Pretty much the same thing that brought me into furry in the first place. I want to be an animal. All this to say, furry has grown a lot. The community has grown a lot. The discussions around topics like the ones laid out in this video have gone from people not caring or being more open to talking about the subject matter to people feeling fearful about speaking or engaging in discussions. People being apprehensive to even follow a creator or individual that they like because of social pressures, or virtue signaling a position on the matter to just gain approval from their peers while they themselves hide and suppress whatever the subject matter may be about, further pushing them deeper and deeper into the fringes of the community where there are higher dangers of exploitation, abusive, dangerous, and illegal behaviors rather than being able to feel like they can talk about it with their friends and peers the same way that they used to. This isn't to say that it's all bad, but people should be able to talk about these complex subjects. People should understand what the terminology and differences are between things like this. People shouldn't paint hate with such a broad stroke. Obviously, there's nothing in life that needs context or is any shade of gray. Everything in life is simply black and white. But what do I know? I'm just a dog on the internet. That's just my thoughts on the matter. What are yours? Feel free to comment down below. I have a few more videos planned. If you didn't like this, don't worry.
A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of a sheep.
If you did like this, check out my Patreon, and please remember, keep being yourself, keep being honest and open, and make sure to keep furry weird.
Reminds me of when I was young.
You used to fuck dogs?